Welcome back to Detroit's Morning Answer with John Anthony. You know, in a world saturated with cookie cutter content, every now and then, someone breaks through the noise with something daring, original, and deeply personal. Project 752 isn't just another sci-fi comic. It's the creation of a mind that's seen struggle, dream bigger than the page, and turn pain into power. Today we welcome Lee Shelton, creator, visionary, and survivor of life's plot twists. But behind the ink and action of Project 752 is a man with a powerful story of his own. Let's go beyond the panels and meet the person behind the project. Lee, welcome to Detroit's Morning Answer.
Man, thank you so much for having me. Detroit, what's up, man? How y'all doing?
Hey, don't forget to shout out Grand Rapids. They're going to get upset with you.
Hey, Grand Rapids, yes. Hey, Grand Rapids, stand up. This is y'all first superhero, Davis Loan Project 752. I'll bring this to y'all, man. So,
you know, Lee, but
yeah.
excuse me, before we talk about Project 752, let's talk about the man behind it. What is your story? What shaped you into the creator you are today?
To be honest, man, like when I was younger, my grandmother, Viola Spettles, she used to take us to it was called Fanfare, a comic book store. And that's when comic books was like 50 cents.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we would go in there, pick up comic books. And I used to pick up all the comic book, Spider-Man comic books and stuff. And I was always intrigued by like the art style. So I'm like, yo, this is nice. So I'll go home, I'll read them. Then I'll just, I started out tracing like any other kid, But ever since then, I fell in love with comic books, the art style. And I just always wanted to do it myself. So that was always the thing. That's what really like started it. And to be honest, growing up watching the 90s Batman series and stuff like that. So at heart, man, I've always been a huge nerd with it. But ultimately, it was really the passion came from like life experience. I always said I was kind of like the Peter Parker, the small guy, the nobody. And it was like inside I always had like this other guy that wanted to do something cool. So I'm like, well, let's create that. It was all up until 2009 when I actually created the story,
Yeah.
And Davis Loan was really like, we all kind of have that thing where it's like, what powers would you want to have?
Yeah.
And this was my creation. So yeah, that's how Davis pretty much came alive, man. Back in 2009, I started it. And, like I said, it's a huge passion of mine, man, to like create a world,
Is Davis Loan a part of Lee Shelton? Did you come with this character design based upon some of the things you've been through in your own life?
Most definitely, man. This actually happened when I went through a bad breakup, moved back to Grand Rapids from Kalamazoo and whatnot. And believe me or not, it started out as a dream. And I was actually counseling Davis, and he was telling me like, yo, I kind of want like this little fro. I need like some wires in the face. I need a fake eye. And I'm like, so I woke up and I drew it and I tried to. And it was saying like, well, I need to ride on the wheel of the power of light. I'm like, man, what the heck did that look like? Yeah. So I did all these sketches, and it was like, it took a long time for me to perfect it. But internally, this guy was really me. My daughter, she's in the comic book. She plays a cop, and they end up working together. And it's kind of the same thing. Me and my daughter, we like one.
Yeah.
We really like work together on like a lot of things, whether if it's art or just daily life stuff, So it's definitely one of those things, man, that hold near and dear to my heart, because Davis Loan is definitely a reflection of who I am.
And that who you are, you've had to overcome a lot of things, especially as a young child. Talk to us about some of the things that you've had to overcome, because I think it's a story of not just grace but redemption and power, and it's a great story.
Yeah, man. So back when we was a little, like I said, my mom, she's overcome a lot. But I grew up, pretty much in a foster care system. My mom, she was, on addictions and stuff like that. I never knew my father. But throughout foster homes, I mean, we've been through so many of them, being my brother and my sister. And that definitely helped me kind of figure out where I needed to go in life. But of course, with bumping my head, going to jail, just really not knowing how to cope with life, being a young, angry dude all the
Man.
time. And I was always so angry.
Yeah.
And it was up until I really started to realize when I moved to Kalamazoo for the first time and I had my daughter, and when I realized how far life has left me behind, it was like it was unreal that how careless I was, man.
Yeah.
Like, and it just, to be honest, my mother, Valerie Shelton, is my biological mother,
Uh-huh.
but my foster mom, her name is Miss Brown, man. She was always, man, pushing, 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 and not in a bad way,
Right.
but I always wanted to do music. She like, you should do art. I'm like, I can draw, but I'm gonna get signed by Jay-Z or somebody. So she always put me in like these programs like Kendall College, right? So she got me to like these materials like paper, glue, stuff like that, and I ended up making this car because I was into cars. And I
Yeah.
always, love to draw 'em, which you guys are seeing in the comic and stuff like that too. So I made this car and I took it up to Kendall College and they liked it so much. They was like, yo, this is nice. So they kept it up there for display. And that's what really got these creative juices going, man, it really started with my grandmother, Viola Settles, because I
Yeah.
used to make like toys out of like aluminum foil and the bread ties. But so I've always been super creative. I just never channeled it into something positive until like the foster care stuff. And like I said, my mom, Barbara Brown, man, she was a strong woman. Rest in peace. And she
Wow.
always pushed me to do better because she would catch me all the time. You couldn't get away with nothing with her. I'm telling you, nothing got past her, zero. So like, I remember that this is an embarrassing story, but I'm gonna tell it.
Go
I
ahead.
promise. So the one time we was living on Fuller, and I called myself. I want to be a smoker.
Yeah.
So my crazy butt rolled up some paper, and I'm in the backyard talking to myself, smoking on paper. And she came back there and was like, "So that's what we doing?" I'm like, "Oh, so I'm trying to put it out." And she like, and she gave me a whole spiel about like smoking, cancer being bad for your lungs and stuff.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that she caught me; it was that how I knew how she felt after that,
Yeah.
trying to sneak and do something like that. So it always been in the back of my mind, like, what would she be thinking if I continue down the wrong path,
Yeah.
especially after she like passed away, man. I really needed to
Yeah.
I really needed to like excel this thing forward. So
So here's a
but yeah,
question for you.
man.
Here's a question for you.
Yeah.
Was
Hmm.
art, was drawing and building cars, was that your? I know when I was growing up, I used to always say, I used to always think that I was part royalty, right? I'm not gonna lie, I had this because I used to create stories in my mind to get me through a lot of the things that I had to endure. Because, like your mom, my mom was a crack addict, and I never knew
Yeah.
my father. We talked about this the other day, so I understand that story. And I would always create stories in my mind. Come to find out, I actually do have royal blood. I'm part of the Yorks from Yorkshire, in England, and part of the French kingdom with Plantagenet, however you say his name. Um, but was that like did you use art as your escape from everything that you were enduring and had to face, chaos, poverty, pain? Was it like almost like your drug to get away and to escape from all that you were enduring?
Definitely. Definitely. I mean, drawing to me was sitting down from the sketch line by line. It was escape from my biggest thing I would say, it was escape from my anger.
Mm,
A huge escape from my anger because I remember I would draw really crazy looking pictures and it was a reflection of what I was feeling or how I was dealing with things,
yeah,
I just know growing up being an angry kid, not really knowing how to control his emotions, I always had an art book, and then when I actually started doing digital art, it was a lot more easier just to pull out an iPad and just draw on it. So by that, like, and the message I always have this here, I always say what I've learned actually is as the man I am today, you have to learn to enjoy the bad as well as the good because they both have a similar lesson and a message within them.
Yeah.
It's and my older brother, he always say, your blessings always come how you deal with things. It's it's in the midst of that moment, So art to me was definitely an escape, man.
Yeah. And Lee, I wanted people to get to know the man Lee, because I think the man Lee is an amazing guy, and I think what you've created. So tell us about the world of Project 752. What's at stake in this universe, and why does it feel so real?
So this world here, Project 752, it actually takes place on a flat Earth. Now, I'm not the one to say I believe in a flat Earth or whatnot, but I wanted to do something different with it.
Yeah.
This world here, it doesn't evolves around like drugs or money. It goes pretty much off value. So the guy like Bernard Matchett, who's the owner of the government and all the technology, he created a thing called the LK chip, which is like a link cop. And what it does is it goes into the side of your neck and it links to your brain. And it's almost like a secondary brain, but instead it rewires you to say like, you're the a radio host. So like that's your job.
Yeah.
And he know if people was off track because let's just say if a code word was, let's see, water, and just said the code word was wet or something like that, right?
Yeah.
So if you went to him and said, "Oh man, I need water," somebody asked like, "Yeah, well," and you said something like, "Oh, water is wet" or something like that, and he'd be like, "Hey, he's coded not to say that, so his LK chip is broken, and that will put you in the live free." Well, you'll already be in the live free by Matchett program, but now you'll go into the recreation program, which is what Davis had went through. But since he was like the 752nd project, he was a little bit more special because he wears this suit called Zermit, which is from Planet Ruck. So it really goes into value because I didn't want to create a comic book that revolves around like, drugs,
Right.
but I replaced that with link comp chips. So you got dealers who do link comp chips, which will say if we go to like this old messed up house or whatever, and some guy in there, he's just like, "Hey, well, I got this link comp chip. This can actually make you an astronaut." And I'm just saying like astronaut because I don't want to get in, to anything a little crazy, but
Lee,
put that there and.
But Lee,
Go ahead.
there's a heavy political undercurrent in the story. Are you using
Oh yeah.
sci-fi as a mirror for our present day world? Because I mean, even with the whole cop aspect behind your story, what have people said about that aspect, that hidden undercurrent, political undercurrent of your story?
Oh, definitely. It's definitely a huge mirror to like what's going on today. So I would like to be the guy that shed light on, let's just say, like the police, right? My favorite teacher was actually a retired cop. His name was Mr. Vanderbilt. And in class, to get us to act right, he used to tell us crazy stories and show us like grapples and stuff. So my daughter, she plays the 60-year-old cop, elite officer Shannon.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why I want to shed light on that is because he will always tell us like, "Hey, sometimes we'll get a call. We go into this call. This might be domestic violence. This one over here might be a murder. This one here might be, somebody eating somebody or something. It may just be something crazy."
Yeah.
Then you pull up to somebody to pull them over for something simple, and they got a bad attitude. And it's like, I couldn't imagine being a cop dealing with that much stress. Like, when you put on that badge, man, it's something different when you go out. It's really the jungle out there. So I want to create that in my comic book to really show what cops go through. Not to say there's not like bad apples out there, but I really wanted to shed light on that.
Wow. As a former cop, I'm telling you, I've been there. I've been short with people on the street. I never nothing crazy because they actually used to call me the Rev where I was a cop at because I was that cop that was out there playing catch before it was all going on social media. I was doing that. I was bringing waters. I saw a group of kids out there playing basketball, bringing them waters, and going to the store, Walmart, picking up waters, taking it back out there, and I was that cop. And it
Oh
is
yeah.
it's a tough job. It really is. So here's a question as it relates to what this story, I should say, for those
Mhm.
growing up in chaos, poverty, or pain, how do you use your story and your art to offer them hope or direction?
So when I created
Davis, we all have those struggles that we go through in life, right? So the first book is really about learning the characters. And even in Davis' story, spoiler alert, guys, if you haven't bought the book, but Davis, he get his butt handed to him. And the reason why I designed this book that way is because even at your worst, if you still got breath in your lungs, man, you can still get up.
Mm.
You can still get up and you can still fight. And like I said, with the whole thing with the police and stuff, like I said they do a lot of like community work and stuff like that. They interact with the people instead of just assuming. I want to show that side where they actually interact with their communities and stuff like that. So I want to say, like, I want to give hope. It really comes from the second book also too, but it shows the part where Davis actually gets up because he don't want to be what he is. Like
Mhm.
he was a nerd.
Yeah.
He was this small guy who just did science, who just loved science. But he got pushed into something else, and sometimes that's life. We
Yep.
get pushed into something else that's greater for us because like I said, I wanted to be a rapper, and even though I was good at it, it wasn't my path. God showed me something different. Like, no, we're not gonna do this. This is where you're supposed to be at.
Wow.
So even though, like, and I always say, like, we don't know as humans, we don't know what we're doing until it's done. Then we can only be that testimony for other people. So you just got to trust the process. You
Ugh.
got to trust the process, man.
Man, that is so Project 752 is not a one-off story. This is the beginning of a larger universe.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, because the second book, once I release that one, because I'm also working on the animation. The animation is really going to show you what the world really looks like, how the story goes. Because I didn't just want to create something. It didn't just be a comic book. I wanted people to be able to relate to Davis Loan, relate to the story, and it's for everybody. That's my thing. It's literally for everybody.
Where can people
And I think
purchase?
that
Where can people go and buy the comic and look for future projects from you?
So right
now you can pick it up at authorhouse.com. We got ebooks there for like $3.99 to get you a hard copy. Barnes and Nobles, Amazon, Ingram, Kobo is worldwide. So if you just got on like Google and typed in Project 752 Story of Davis Loan, it'll pop up and you'll be able to like get it a digital copy for $3.99, or I know it's on Amazon it's like $18.99. Or like I said, people can go on my social media and talk to me about it. I'm on Facebook at Lee Shelton, Instagram Lee Shell. Also, I'm on Twitter. TikTok. Yep, that's Lee. Yeah, TikTok. That's at Lee.Shell68. Also, my YouTube is at MLS Comics.
Okay.
So you guys can link up with me there and get more information there because I'm always posting on YouTube like new stuff.
Yeah. Hey Lee, I want to do a quick lightning round with you. Is that okay?
Gotcha.
All right.
Yeah.
Marvel. What do you like better, Marvel or DC?
I gotta say Marvel.
I'm with you there. Although Superman is my all-time favorite superhero, in my opinion. Superman is the man for me.
Yeah.
What comic book artist or writer do you secretly admire?
I would have to
say Todd McFarlane.
Oh.
Yeah.
Describe Project 752 in 3 words.
Hopeful, brave, and let me see.
Powerful. Definitely, I could go with powerful.
What's your writing ritual? How do you get in that creative zone? I'm in that zone.
Jazz, incense, and I have my favorite comic book in front of me every time.
If your life were a comic, what would the title be?
Rerun.
Rerun.
I love it. Now, final question. What do you want your legacy to be on the page and off?
I want my legacy
to be something that people can identify with, something that'll live on, like literally after I'm gone, that it just keep evolving with life. That's kind of like, I like Stan Lee, so I like the way that he was a visionary, and even when he started to now, his stuff still lives on, man.
Yeah.
Stuff still lives on. Yeah.
Well, he's Lee Shelton. He's an independent comic book creator behind Project 752, a sci-fi action series set in a futuristic world of power, politics, and survival. Beyond his work in comics, Lee's own life journey from adversity to creative independence shapes much of the emotional depth and resilience found in his characters and themes. Lee, thank you so much for joining us on Detroit's Morning Answer.
Thank you for having me, man.
I definitely appreciate it.
Hey, you got it. Grand Rapids, stand up. Detroit, you're listening to Detroit's Morning Answer. We'll be right back. Thank